Today, on Be Something Wonderful, transcending opposites once and for all. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. Lots of powerful sessions, and here's a couple points that came up, and I want to start with the first one. That one of the clients said, Tom, I just feel like my desires are polarizing. This is what they said. And then there was another comment on the channel where someone made a comment that their 3D didn't change until they felt they weren't polarized by it. So the word polarized came up twice. And then another client was talking about the person that they're seeing. And she said, you know, he's just hot and cold. Sometimes he's at this point where it just seems like he's extremely loving and supportive. And then he just goes cold. So guys, I want to touch on all of this today and more. Lots to unpack. Here's where I want to start with desiring. Here's the thing, remember, what is desire anyway? Think of it this way, it's your higher self. Your inner being is making a choice. Is making a choice on what that inner being, what your soul wants to experience in the 3D reality. What part of its evolution does it want to experience now? Then we translate that feeling of that choice into desiring and wanting and not having it. Do you hear this? I really want to hit this point. Remember, desiring your desire, you're desiring your desires. But your inner being, your higher self, the real you, is choosing your desires. Do you get the difference? It's the difference. We've talked about this before, but never like we're going to get at it today. You're desiring your desires. That keeps you focused on what you believe you do not have. Versus your inner being, your higher self, the real you, is already complete. The real you, your inner being, desires nothing. It's impossible to desire anything. It knows it's already complete. It's already within him, within you as potential. Right? So choosing, so your inner being chooses. And when you choose, as opposed to desiring, now you're focused on the idea that your desires already exist within you as potential or unseen substance. Do you see that? You're aligning here with your inner being who desires nothing, who is simply choosing what to experience next. What part of the evolution does it want to experience? It's a fully evolved being that's choosing, right? And when you choose, as opposed to desiring, because you're translating what your inner being is choosing into desiring, you're now focused on the idea that your desires are already within you as potential, as unseen desire, versus focusing on what you believe you do not have. Do you see the two ends there? Right? Here you're polarized. You're in polarity. Right? You identify what you want, but you're feeling the polarity or the opposite of it, of what you don't want. Right? Remember, focus creates reality. That's why putting your focus on that idea that it already exists as potential within you brings you everything, right? Choosing to experience your desires inspires you to believe that you can experience them and dissolves doubt. Choosing inspires you to believe that you can experience them. Hear that again. Choosing versus desiring your desires inspires you to believe that you can experience them, and it dissolves doubt. Your inner being, because it desires nothing, that simply chooses what it wants to experience through you, right? And many times we translate that feeling, our 3D personality, translates that feeling of choosing, of making a choice, of choosing, into desiring and wanting and longing. Wow, that is big. Let's unpack this a little bit more. So here's the thing, it's that pendulum that we've talked about. On one end, you're desiring your desires. On the other end, you're doubting that they can be manifested. And so you're swinging between the attachment to the desired outcome and the negative attachment to the unwanted, to the possibility that it won't happen. Right? You're attached to it not happening here, or the unwanted, and here you're attached to the wanted. Either way, you're swinging between extremes. You're swinging between polarities. Right? Do you see that? Whoa! You're desperately desiring and wanting to be or have something always invokes the equally desperate desiring not to be or have its opposite. Hear this clear. Because we are going to dissolve and transcend opposites once and for all. Desperately desiring and wanting to be or have something always invokes the equally desperate desiring not to be or have, or not to be or have its opposite. It invokes its opposite, right? The desiring invokes the not desiring, right? That's why you feel like you are stuck between wanting it but never getting it, manifesting it and then losing it shortly after. That's what your experience has been. That's what one of you have told me, right? That's why you feel like you're in between this pendulum. You might even manifest it, then lose it, because you're swinging between that pendulum. That's big. So remember, your higher self, your I am, the real you, desires nothing, because it already is everything. It's impossible for it to desire anything. Son, you have always been with me, and all that is mine is yours. Prodigal son, right? That's beautiful. That's God to the prodigal son, or God to the second son, not the prodigal, right? And so you are complete. You're whole, and you lack nothing. No thing, no desire, nothing can add or take away from who you already are. It's what has always been with me. Son, you have always been with me. All that is mine is yours. It's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, right? It's already there. You're already complete. As spirit, then, you're here to play in the physical plane of manifested reality. Your inner being wants to play through you in manifested reality by choosing, not desiring and wanting. Right? And the mental plane of thoughts, feelings, and desires. Both of those planes, the physical plane of the hard, solid, manifested reality, and the mental plane of thoughts, feelings, and desires. How? To experience your unlimitedness, your endless potential. That's how your inner being, because remember, your inner being is in the spiritual plane. So it wants to play in the mental plane of thoughts, feelings, and desires, and in the manifested plane of 3D manifested reality with you by choosing. But you're interpreting that choosing into a desiring, into a wanting, into a not having it. Where your inner being is saying, you already have it. I already have it. I'm just choosing to experience it on these planes. Big. So big. I have it here. Big. So you transcend the desiring by knowing, aligning with your higher self. Your higher self, because your higher self desires nothing. The innate desire to know yourself as God, natural and pure without resistance. That's pure desire. Now we've defined what pure desire is. You transcend the desiring by knowing, by aligning with your higher self, because your higher self desires nothing. Right? That desire, it's an innate desire to know yourself as God. Natural, pure, without resistance. The inner being only has pure desire. It's pure desire to play in 3D reality through you, right? It gives you that innate desire, that pure desire without resistance to experience yourself as God. Wow, that's what pure desire is. That's how you transcend it. To transcend or to be above means in terms of scale of consciousness. Right? Higher frequency or vibration, higher positivity as it relates to lower levels, right? The 3D desires, right? When we talk about higher positivity, we're talking about as it relates to the lower vibration. Higher vibration as it relates to the lower vibration, right? This is why positive emotion is infinitely more powerful than negative emotion. Because negative emotion is low vibration. It's dense. It's heavy. Positive emotions are high vibration. They can overcome negative emotion. So it takes a lot more negative emotion to even move you, right? This gives you the power to direct your desire by choosing from the higher viewpoint, from the viewpoint of your inner being, right? From the scale of consciousness where your inner being is, that higher vibration, that higher frequency. Let's uncover this some more. And so you say, I feel polarized by my desires. My 3D didn't change until I wasn't polarized by the duality of it. This points to the law of polarity, opposites, duality of the manifested universe in the 3D world. That's the law of polarity, the law of opposites, or the law of duality, right? All those terms are used, right? And here's what the Kabbalion says. Everything is dual about polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has a pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Do you hear this? Unwanted and wanted are the same. Undesired and desire are the same. They're just at different poles. Abraham Hicks talks about it when she says the other end of the stick. But really, it's bigger than that because it's not a stick. A stick would imply that the ends don't meet. But the ends meet in the extremes. Do you hear this? So the unwanted and wanted meet. So that in the seed of the unwanted is the wanted. In the seed of the wanted is the unwanted. They are. If you walk around the globe and you start heading east, you eventually hit the extreme west. Do you hear it? Extremes meet. It's all one. Everything's dual. Everything has poles. Everything has a pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. In degree meaning vibration, right? Extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradox may be reconciled. Wow, that's polarity. Woo! So let's hit this some more. Hot and cold, wanted and unwanted, right? Though they appear as opposites, polar opposites, they are simply different degrees of vibration of the same thing. They're the same thing. You're just seeing on the scale of consciousness, right? It goes from the highest vibration of God down to the lowest, physical matter, right? They just appear as opposites, but they're just different degrees. Hot turns to cold, cold turns to hot. Depends where you are on that degree of on that scale, right? They appear as opposites in relation to each other. That's what the world of relativity means. That's what the world of duality means. They appear as opposites in relation to each other. In other words, one has the seed and potential of the other within it. As soon as you choose what you want or desire, the opposite's created unconsciously. It's always along unconscious lines. Remember, these are the laws of the universe. They work along those unconscious lines unless directed by you from a higher level of awareness, from a higher level of vibration. Wow. Unless you transcend it, right? By transmuting desiring into choosing. Do you see this? Because your inner being is choosing, right? This is only on the physical plane, right? As soon as you choose what you want to desire, the opposite's created unconsciously. But that's only on the physical or manifested plane, in the mental plane of thoughts, feelings, and desires. On the spiritual plane, we deal in absolutes. God is absolute. There are no opposites. Cause equals effect. Hot equals cold. It's all one. It's all unity. The real self, the higher self, the spiritual plane only deals in absolutes. That's why it's impossible for your inner being to want anything. It wants for nothing. But it chooses. And it chooses through you. And you translate that feeling of choosing into wanting and desiring, into lack, into not having something. And that's where your focus goes. Instead, choose with your inner being, right? Wow, that's big. So, opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree, or in other words, vibration. If you remember this, spiritual matter, lowest vibration, thoughts and feelings, higher vibration, unseen, and then the highest vibration, spirit, right? Spirit, the all, and matter, the many, are the same. These are the same. Right? In fact, I have it like this, but it's really a circle. And they meet. right? So they're the same. The difference merely is matter is a degree of mental manifestation, right? Extremes meet. This is a big point in polarity. If you travel around the world heading east, you will reach a point, an extreme point, after which you will be traveling west. Do you get this? This is big. Opposites need each other for meaning. East is meaningless without the idea of west, and vice versa. Right? Hot is meaningless without the idea of cold, and vice versa. These same ideas apply to your desires, thoughts, and emotions. Wow. You know what we're getting at today. This is such a big lesson. That's why when taken to extremes, hot can turn into cold, love can turn into hate, wanted can turn into unwanted. Do you see if the extremes meet? It's an elliptical, it's not a stick, right? A stick is good to start with, but it's bigger than that, right? Now, when I say love turns into hate, I'm not talking about absolute unconditional love of your inner being, of God. I'm talking about that 3D emotion, right? That's why when you describe your SP or whoever you were talking about, your boyfriend, he's hot and cold. Well, that's why. That now it makes sense. He goes to such the extreme of hot, being unbelievably loving, but then as you go to that extreme, you meet the cold, right? You meet extremes meet. And that's why then he's the opposite. Now he's really cold. That's the law of polarity. Let him off the hook. He's being driven by the unconsciously by the law of polarity. Transcend it and let that guy off the hook, or the girl off the hook, or your family off the hook, or whoever, right? Let them off the hook. It's the law of polarity, and that works unconsciously, right? All pairs of opposites are the same. The only difference is degree of vibration, or in other words, positivity. Not the positivity as in positive thinking. We're talking about vibration here. Positive emotions are more subtle. They're uplifting. They're lighter. That's why we say, oh, it's uplifting or it rises, right? Negative emotions are more dense or heavier. But even the idea of saying positive or negative can be a misnomer. It's better to say higher emotions or lower emotions. Elevated emotions, as Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, and lower emotions, right? That's why positive emotions with their higher vibration, or in other words, elevated emotions or higher emotions with their higher vibration, higher emotions, higher vibration, are more powerful than negative emotions or lower emotions, right? Positive, better, it means higher, negative means lower. Those are probably better terms to use, right? Extreme positive emotions or extreme high emotions means higher positive. It doesn't equal higher positivity. I just want to say this. Extreme positive emotions doesn't necessarily mean higher positivity, right? When someone's, for instance, if you believe someone is showing you love to an extreme, that could be a demonstration of obsession, right? Then that obsession quickly turns into the polar opposite, hate. Because remember, extremes meet. So if you're on an extreme, any extreme, it doesn't necessarily mean higher positivity or even higher vibration, right? That's big, right? Love can turn to be obsessive in an attachment, right? Then it can turn to hate. Do you see it? That's what's going on here. So let's hit this a little bit more. There's our pendulum again. On this side, you get the desired outcome, the wanted, the positive attachment. You're always attached. If you're on either side of the extreme, that's what attachment means. Do you see it? Unless you transcend it, you're attached. You're either on this extreme or this attachment that you really need and want and desire that desired outcome, or else. Or you don't want the unwanted. You don't want the undesired outcome. You doubt that you're going to get this, so you're really railing against getting the unwanted. That's the negative attachment. Either way, you're swinging with the pendulum or the polar. You're swinging between polar opposites. You're swinging between extremes. Do you see it? And then that's why you don't get what you want. You're just going back and forth. right? And then you finally give up and you swing to the other end. Then you start imagining and putting a lot of processes on and swing to the other end. Desiring keeps you swinging between the two extremes. Choosing, like your inner being, not desiring, but choosing, moves you beyond time and space, focused on your potential of everything within. Do you see this? Your freedom and unlimited power comes from desiring from the plane within you, from the plane. We could call it a plane, but the place is what I wanted to say. The place within you, or the higher plane, the spiritual plane, the plane where your inner being hangs out, right? That higher place within you that desires nothing. That's why identifies true. That's how you identify true desires, right? How you identify true desires. When you come from a place of wanting for nothing, not desiring for nothing, now you're aligned with your inner being. Now you're choosing what to experience. And so your choice is going to be more aligned to your true desires, what you really want. Otherwise, from wanting and desiring, you can fool yourself into really wanting something because you're coming from lack and attachment. Do you see that? That's what determines your true desires, your burning desire. Your freedom and unlimited power comes from desiring from a place of desiring for nothing, from a place within that desires nothing. That's how you identify your true desires. Like the ancients, you transmute your desiring into choosing, right? You choose to experience it from a place of complete love, complete trust, complete fulfillment. That's big. That's transcending opposites once and for all. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos. That's how we get our message out. You can find us on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful. We have a group called the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors. You can join that group. It's a private group, but it's open to join. But then it's private, and you can share among your members insight and guidance with others. You can also join us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron, or just go to our website anytime at tomcaron.com or besomethingwonderful.com for all that information and more. There's also going to be more coming on the membership channel. Another big video will be uploaded to that as well. More coming in every direction, guys. With great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, creators, see you soon.